just to share. I haven't been on here maybe for a week or two. It feels like it's been longer than that, to tell you the truth. But I have been in a very quiet moment. And I think what got me on that quietness because I was studying, still reading the book of Judges, as I've shared. If anyone has, heard my video that I have posted maybe a couple of months ago, that I'm on this journey with reading the whole Bible again from a different version, which is the Message Bible. And as I begin to study a little bit more about Micah, what started standing out to me is the deception that Micah was in. And he was in the deception because he felt that if he had a Israelite, I'm sorry, not an Israelite. Well, it is an Israelite, but he is a Levite specifically, that, he was, I guess he thought in his mind that, he was safe. But this Levite was also, working as a priest, but he was working as a priest, not for God. And I'm not going to go all into it right now because that's not the point that I wanted to make this morning. I really didn't think that I was going to get on here this morning. But my point was, as I went back to the book of Numbers to then begin to study more about the Levites, because I wanted to see why was Micah in so much deception, like what really caused this deception. And a part of me, think it may have came from, his mother, because she was worshiping idols, too. And she had these idols that she, in her mind, that she was setting up for her son. And to me, that led a pattern, that he then began to feel like now that he was this god or this priest, because his mother had set up this idol worship, for him. That's just my thoughts from, what I read. But however, my point is, as I went back and I'm, just really diving into the history of the Levites, which is the family of Aaron and Moses. They are Levites. But what came upon me is that our ancestors really went through some, I guess I want to say some pruning or some growth, because when I think about all that God had them to do for preparation for the camp, he really set them up as a military. That they went through a lot. When you really study the Torah, you really see how God really formed his people, how he shaped them. And as I'm sitting here just studying again and just allowing my mind to really just go there with all that God had them to do, is like, and just the part that when he told them, like, the Levites, right? They had to surround the tabernacle. And then all of the other Israelites in their army, in their groups that Moses had set them in, then they can be from around it, around the Levites. But the Levites specifically, good morning, the Levites specifically, had to be right there by the tabernacle. And what God said was, they had to be there so that the rest of the camp wouldn't be, defiled or destroyed. So when I think about all of that, it's like they truly went through something, because God was like, hey, you can't, no, everybody who has a disease, of any kind, any illness, even, if they're on their menstrual, even if the men that from their morning ejaculation, hey, you can't be in this camp right now. So when you think about that in man's way, it's almost like that's a lot of ritual. But it's not a ritual, it is actually God's way of doing things. He was like, my camp has to be clean. So, and it's just like, when you truly contemplate on that, that's a lot. That was pruning that God did to show us now, how to live for him. And I said, God, that's truly a blessing that I and us who live now today in this modern world didn't have to go through all of what our ancestors went through to show us who God is. Our ancestors truly went through All of what God shows us in that word, just for us to be here today and to, first of all, we're supposed to be living for Christ. So I just wanted to share that blessing of what I see, the goodness, of God, and then even the goodness of our ancestors having gone through all of what they have went through from the book of Genesis, actually even to Revelations, but to really speak about the foundation of it is just the Torah. The first 5 books of the Bible, that is the Torah. And God really shaped and molded them, to show him who he was, and that he was alive, he was with them, that he talks to them, that he walks with them, that he will, chastise them. That to me is truly amazing, because all of us now, that are living, we are living up under a blessing that someone else went through to get us here. Others went through to get us here. And it's about to make me cry as I think about it, because that's precious to me. To think about, and if your mind can't go that far, think about your grandparents and your great grandparents who went through their hard times here on this earth, and some of the racism, and just some of the hate and so much other things that they went through, just to get you here. All of that is precious to me. So if you can think about your grandparents and even some of your parents who went through them, and even to take about some of your parents who may have had addictions and overcame them, and and then was still able to be in your lives. It's the same thing as our ancestors in this Bible, and the things that God had taken them through, just so that we can have what we have today. Just so that we can still be in the presence of God and say, God, I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for this life that you have given me. I thank you for all that my sisters and brothers have went through, for order for us to have this blessing now, in order for us to have the things that we have. Even his son, Jesus Christ, died on a cross for us. He didn't send his son because he realized we couldn't do this without him. So I just want to say to whomever out there, count your blessings. Count your blessings that you wasn't, a part of the first 5 books, because they went through some hard times that God was not playing with them, okay? And just think, if he still reacted the same way, which he still does, but he's not doing what he was doing in the Torah, because you did one thing wrong, you was out of here. He was killing you, okay? Because he meant what he said. So they went through all of that to show us now today that God is real, and he's a God that do not play. He loves his people. He's going to discipline his people, and he's also going to bring a vengeance to those who come against his people. Okay? So count your blessings. Every day that you have, be thankful. Be thankful, be thankful, be thankful. God bless you all.